Hey guys, welcome to the RAMZPAUL show. I almost forgot how to do this. I haven't done a live show in so long. It's so good to be back. I missed them. I plan to do them. I think I'm going to do them every Wednesday night. I used to do my Wednesday night show with the late great Z Man. Man, I miss him. We had a great show. I'm going to continue on Wednesdays. Maybe I will get another co-host. I will see. I don't know. Although I'm very unlucky, as someone said in my comment, being a co-host of Ramsey Paul is like being a drummer in the band Spinal Tap. If you guys ever watched that movie, it's the old joke that the drummer's always dying. And it seems like all my co-hosts die, right? Tina Veek died late 30s. Z-Man dead. And I talked about yesterday in my video, I hope it's wrong, but I saw a video from Styx Hexenhammer. He used to be my co-host, and he didn't seem he was trolling. He seemed he was serious. He said he's got a diagnosis and he's going to die in a month. I I don't I don't know why anyone would lie about that. If you don't want to lie about a terminal disease like cancer, it's just not a good look. It does happen though. Here in Fayetteville, Arkansas, we had a guy, all right, I guess he's still here. Boogie, if you guys remember Boogie, he got famous making World of Warcraft parody videos. He's a big fat guy. It's kind of funny. Sasha knew of him before he got famous. He was kind of a sketchy character back in the day. Let's just put it that way. I won't say anything else. But Boogie, he faked cancer for sympathy or whatever. I don't think Styx would do that, but I hope Styx is okay. I saw that video. Someone showed it to me, and I thought, he just must be trolling. But I saw the whole video. He seemed very serious. So I don't know. We will see, I guess. Either way, it's going to look bad, right? Either he dies in a month, which is really sad. That would suck, or he's alive and he was just like faking it, and that's a bad look too. So maybe he'll be cured. I don't even know if it's cancer. He said it was something. It seems strange because for someone that's going to die in a month, he looked fine. And usually people, if they know you're going to die soon, you look really sick. Like Scott Adams, we all saw him at the end. It's a decline. I've had people in my life, I've known older grandparents and stuff, when they get cancer or they get sick, it's a slow decline. It kind of accelerates at the end. So I don't know, but maybe it's not that. Maybe it's some unrelated disease. But I don't know what other disease would kill you in a month, really, unless yeah, you could have heart problems, but that's usually you can't put a date on when that's going to kill you. So I don't know. I don't know. And he said he's not going to commit suicide, so that's good. I know he has a lot of personal problems. So I Sticks, if you're watching, I'm rooting for you. That really sucks. So I think he's a good guy. And he kind of got his fame during the first Trump thing. I think Trump retweeted him. And he was sort of unusual. He was kind of in the occult type of thing. And then he was a Trump supporter, libertarian, and he did well with that. And he's a very hard worker. He used to do, I don't know if he still does, like 8 videos a day. Crazy man. But so he's a very hard worker at what he does. He edits books and everything. Obviously, I don't agree with him with everything, but I always thought he was very talented. So I hope he's okay. So my best wishes for Sticks. And of course, Sasha was the co-host. She got on me today about that. You forgot me, and I'm like, well, I don't consider you a co-host. It's a different situation, so I'm going to exclude her from that. So she won't get the Ramsey Paul curse. And then briefly, I had Alicia. So hopefully, we will see. Maybe I will get another co-host. So guys, thank you for joining. I plan to do this every Wednesday, and I'll see how I'll do it. Maybe I'll get some interviews. People miss interviews, stuff like that. So I feel a lot better. Part of the reason is I told everyone I had my own health issues for the last 2 months. In November, December, I was very sick with an infection. They couldn't diagnose it properly, and they did all sorts of scans and whatever, and I ended up in the hospital over Christmas from the infection. But while doing the scans, they also discovered I had cancer of the appendix, of all things, which is very rare, this type of cancer. And you don't want to hear those terms, cancer and rare. That's usually not a good sign. But from what I heard from the doctor, is this type of cancer, if they catch it early, it's like 100% survival rate. And if they don't catch it early, they usually don't catch it early because no one checks for it, right? No one knows if you have appendix cancer. I mean, they check for colon cancer, you have colonoscopy, and some, breast cancer women, they're screened, and prostate, you should go to the doctor every year. They do a blood test, but appendix cancer, they just have no way of knowing. Unless they happen to luckily see it, they just don't know until it spreads real bad. It either spreads to the colon or it can burst and then it kills you almost right away. So luckily they got it in time. So I should be totally clear. I'm going to the doctors tomorrow just to double check everything, but I feel pretty good. I feel really good now. And so I'm over my infection, which made me sick for the last 2 months. So didn't have anything to do with cancer that made me sick. It was the infection. And I'm cured of that. They finally got me on the right antibiotics. And then they cut out the cancer in my appendix. It's just it's like a centimeter tumor on the very tip of the appendix. If you know your biology, the appendix attaches, I think, to the large intestine or something like that. They just cut it out. So I'm pretty optimistic, but you never know. You never know. So you got to live life to the fullest. And that's what I plan to do. Especially, I think we're kind of on a timer. We all are, but I think I'm not sure what's going to happen politically. It seems like the country and the world is really dividing into two different camps. There's the people on our side, which amazes me because the things I hear JD Vance say, Elon Musk, Matt Walsh, all these people are sounding like I sounded a few years ago. Oh, they wouldn't have anything to do with me back then. Oh, no, he's toxic. Now I have Elon Musk retweeting me. So it's been a long, strange trip, put it that way. So I feel very optimistic on this side. I think a lot of our people, we're getting rid of this whole civ-nat nationalism. It's not, we love immigrants. We just don't like illegal immigrants. Now we're so far beyond that. We're beyond that. So let's not pretend that's where we are. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, I had to check my Rumble, make sure it was going good. So that is a good thing. I think we're really making progress on that aspect. And also just Nick Fuentes, Charlie Kirk, he was assassinated last year, very sad. But if you saw his progression, he was getting more based all the time too. And then after he was assassinated, I think Nick Fuentes has really stepped up. And I've been very critical of Nick in the past, especially with the whole comedy adventure with Kanye and all that nonsense. But it seems like Nick has got back on track, and he went on Tucker Carlson, and that really blew everything up. And all the Jewish groups were demanding that everyone isolate Tucker and denounce him. And much to the surprise, because usually these people, you got to denounce he's anti-Semitic, and everyone's scared of them. So they do. But for the first time, people were standing up to them, and that's refreshing. A lot of people did not denounce Tucker Carlson for having a fair interview with Fuentes. I mean, he didn't endorse what Fuentes said. It just was a fair interview. And basically the unwritten rule, like when I did interviews years ago with like NPR or whatever, the idea was they would tell you they're going to give you a fair interview, and then it would be an attack interview. The interviewer, the so-called journalist, would act like a prosecutor, not as a journalist, because the whole idea of journalism is trying to get the ideas out. You try to keep your opinions away, and then you get different sides. But that's not modern journalism. Modern journalism, since really the 1980s, they call it advocacy journalism, where journalists see themselves in the fight against evil. And so they act in a certain way. So if you're going to interview someone like Jared Taylor, myself, Nick Fuentes, or whoever, you can, but you have to be in attack mode the whole time. And we saw that with like Piers Morgan. When Piers Morgan interviewed Fuentes, he was in attack mode, and he got little pats on the head for that, even though he did a really poor job. But Tucker just did it straight, and that enraged them. And people like Megyn Kelly, she refused to condemn Tucker. And so Mark Levine called Megyn Kelly, anti-Semite Nazi. And it's funny because Megyn Kelly hates Fuentes, but she's just not going to condemn Tucker. So we're getting stronger this way. So in many ways, I feel very optimistic on like our side. I don't even know what to call it. Yeah, the left and right. I hate those terms anymore. We're really beyond really the whole economic argument about, oh, should we have socialized medicine or what should the tax rate be? Or I'm so beyond that. The big issue now is, do we have a right to as a people, meaning white people, to have our own homelands? Do we have that right to be a super majority? Now, the Jewish people, they demand that right in Israel. And in fact, if you say they don't have that right, they say you're an evil anti-Semite and you should go to jail for 5 or 7 years. I think like if you're in Australia now, and I'm not exaggerating, if you said, I don't think Israel should be for the Jewish people, it should be for everyone, you would probably be thrown into jail. So they have said, no, you got to support Israeli Jewish nationalism. That's required. But nationalism for our people is considered wicked, Nazism, white supremacism, the whole bit they do. But the good thing is people are seeing through that now. I see on the right, and a lot of the squishy right that we had even in 2016, 17, we used to call them, remember, the alt-right is no longer a term ever since Richard Spencer imploded. But remember the alt-right, those type of people, a lot of them were grifters, and a lot of them were we love legal immigrants, it's just illegal, that type of thing. And it's really it's the Republicans. We're the party of homosexuals. Take that, Democrats. And, that's so over now. And maybe there's a few stragglers, but I think those people are almost gone. So and that needs to happen. And we need to have clarity because we don't have much time. And I'm not talking about age, meaning myself personally. I'm just, we're in a battle, almost a civil war, and we got to treat this seriously. And you see what happened in Minnesota, Minneapolis, where you have these Somali scammers, and ISIS going in to get rid of, sadly, not just the regular Somalis. They should, one day they should, but they're just trying to get rid of the ones that are there illegally or criminals. And the left is defending them, and you have these white women like Renee Good. And this is the problem why we didn't have women voting in the years past, because people understood women tend to be emotional and they tend to be easily influenced. Not all women. Okay. I'm not saying all. I know there's exceptions. So I'm disclaimer. And yeah, men can be bad too. But if you think about it, everyone knows this, or at least Wall Street knows this, and Madison Avenue advertisers have always known this, that advertising is targeted towards women because women are the most easily influenced by propaganda and advertising. So women are big into fashions, right? Whereas men don't care as much. But you could tell women, oh, you got to dress a certain way. This is a style. You don't want to be different from the herd, do you? And so they all do it. Even if the style is something like dumb, like tattoos, like, oh, okay, women, you got to show all that you're very unique. And to show unique, you got to get a tattoo like every other woman. And all the women, yes, we need to be unique. So we'll do what we're told like every other woman. And so that's how women operate. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. There's an evolutionary reason for it. But we really see that more so now. And George Orwell talked about it in the book 1984, that women were always the most devoted of whatever cause. And that's true. I've often said that you could have a communist country. The biggest defenders of communism will be women. But you could literally have, let's say, Nazi come in, Hitler come in, and within a year, the same women that are praising communism and kill whites, they would be 100% Nazis, full on board. So we see this a lot. And we've seen this a lot with a lot of these e-thoughts. I think recently, Ashley St. Clair, she's that Jewish girl that got pregnant from Elon Musk. And I never knew her background. She was just one, kind of a pretty girl. So a lot of simping men give her money because she says some based right-wing stuff, supposedly, right? Everyone falls for this stupid scam. I mean, I wish I could tell you guys don't fall for that, right? Please don't. I get it. If you're a young man, mostly my audience is male, you like pretty women. I get it, but keep that in that a different category from what they say politically. Don't take them seriously politically. I mean, just whatever, right? If they want to be silly and run around and show their tits, great, but don't say because of that, don't use that as like, oh, there are political leaders. How many times have we been burned on this? Remember, there's that chick from Breitbart. I met her. She's hanging around Milo. What is it? Katie what was it? Katie something. I met her, little short girl, real based. And then she turned out to be a shit lib when things got hot. Lauren Southern did her little pivot. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And Ashley St. Clair's another one. And that's why when I see these girls, I'm like, yeah, and then again, you just got to be very careful. There's some really good ones, women out there that do it, like Michelle Malkin. I think she's coming back. I've always loved her. Ann Coulter, even Megan Kelly. I'm not fully on board with her, but she's kind of boomerish in her thinking, but she's interesting. But then you have these other women, especially if they're younger, they're all about trying to scam men and they just see an opportunity. So you got to be very, very careful to e-girls and don't really trust them so much. Now, again, men can switch too. I get it, that happens with pressure, but you got to be very careful with that. So anyway, the right, that's the state of the right. I think we're getting a little bit more bolder and we're saying more truths just straight out, right? It's like, no, I don't want this country to be diverse. No, diversity is not a strength. No, our country's not going to be better if it's majority non-white. It would be shitty. Anywhere that's majority non-white, excluding, let's say, Japanese, but I'm just saying blacks or in other groups like Arabs, it's shittier or it's something we don't want to live in. It's not good for our people. And we don't have to pretend that diversity is a strength. And it's becoming more and more obvious. When people didn't live in diversity, they could pretend it was a strength. Oh, I get great ethnic food. But when they live in it, unless you're very rich, you can have bodyguards and, like Piers Morgan, it's not good. And people are seeing that. And so countries and governments around the world are trying to stifle free speech. And especially Australia, that's very crazy now. If you think what has happened there, is so crazy. What happened? Some radical Islam guy shot up a bunch of Jews, and then the Jewish groups put a lot of pressure on the president of Australia to pass laws against white people. This is crazy. And so now it's like in Australia, you can't even say like, these Muslims that shoot us, we should deport them. You'll go to jail for 7 years for that. It's a totalitarian state. Britain's there. A lot of other states are that way, other governments. And it's sad what's happening. But I understand why they're doing it because they understand they're going to lose the argument. They can't win the argument if everything's free. I posted on X the other day that if you ever have a space, whatever the space is, it could be a social media platform like Facebook or X or Twitter, or even like a game server, right? If you ever have a space that you allow people to speak freely, it will quickly go very hard right wing. And I've observed that in my life. I'm not always political. I've been on, years ago, I went on a private server for World of Warcraft. I used to play that and I got tired of the official company. So they had kind of an old school World of Warcraft server, and the server was based in Russia. That's why they couldn't shut it down. They allowed people to say whatever you want. And boy, was it right wing. So, all the whole trans stuff and all that type of stuff and BLM, it just doesn't fly when people can speak freely. And that is, I think the governments realize that. So they are trying to shut that down and intimidate people. And so that is what we're seeing across the Western world. It's really sad, but that's the situation we're in. And don't mind my dogs. I have a couple dogs here. They were sleeping. What happens? I live in a rural area. A lot of times I look out the window if there's like a deer or a rabbit. It's just crazy. I got like a dog named Benji's, mostly a lab, really. Might have a little pit bull in him, but he's 10 months and The other day, I live on a couple acres, and he came back to the door with a dead rabbit in his mouth. I'm like, oh my god! So they still have that instinct to go after wild animals. So they get excited when they see something out here. There's a lot of critters out here, I tell you, a lot of deer. So that's the right. I think the right were pretty good, but the left is getting more and more extreme too. They're becoming just straight out communist Bolsheviks, almost kind of like Trotskyites, not so much like Stalin or anything that. I mean, where they just want to, they have a real hatred of Christianity and white people. And that's why we see Christians and white people are extremely targeted. And when people ask, like, why does Starmer have all this censorship, but then brings in people that say will attack and rape white little girls, and he won't defend them. And if you're critical of that, you go to jail. It doesn't make any sense. And it's like, why are white people so cucky? And I don't really think it's so much white people. I think the people that want us dead have a lot of power and money, and they have a lot of influence over politicians. And these politicians sell us out because they say, well, I'm going to get money out of it. I get power out of it. And they tell me I'm a good person to do this. So this is why they do it. They should be held accountable for that. 100% the case. And I've often mentioned an analogy. It's funny. Sometimes I come up with these things, and years later I hear someone like Matt Walsh use it or something, or Tucker, and that's fine. But it's the snakes and the snake handlers, right? It's like you have a house and rattlesnakes are in your house. Well, rattlesnakes don't belong in your house. It's not that, I hate rattlesnakes. They're God's creatures, but they belong in the field. They eat rabbits. Hey, Benji, how you doing? But what we got to do, what the problem is you don't need them in your house because they can be dangerous. And the problem is, how did those rattlesnakes get in your house? Because they just don't get in by themselves, right? And if it turns out someone is intentionally opening your window at night and dumping rattlesnakes in your house, well, the person dumping them in your house is a real problem. I mean, the rattlesnakes need to be removed, right? I mean, there's no doubt about that. And we need to do that in the United States. But the real problem are the snake handlers, the ones that are intentionally damaging your people. Those are the people that we need to hold accountable, because, Somalis just don't happen to wander into America. Is people intentionally bringing them in. And why are they bringing them in? They don't add to the economy. And I'll show you stats of that. And they harm our people. But that's why. I mean, the people that are bringing them in know they're going to harm our people. They know they're going to vote Democrat. They know they're going to break white identity. They know they're going to be harmful for Christians. They know they're going to be harmful for white children. They think it's funny. They like that because they hate us. And you got to understand that. We're in a war, and it's also a spiritual war. These people, they hate Jesus Christ. They hate whatever that's good. And so they think it's funny to throw like rattlesnakes in your house so they can bite your children. That's why they're doing it. And I would say that is the primary reason over other reasons. People always like, oh, well, it's because of capitalism, get cheap labor. Well, that's not the case with the Somalis. They're not working. So it's not like they're coming in and working for a lower wage. They're not working at all, unless you count running scams as working. So, yeah, that is a issue there. Let's see. What are you doing, dog? I have this big dog under me here now, so he's still a pup. So that's what's happening there. And you get these people like Renee Good, and again, because they believe in the propaganda, and they just go along with this sort of thing. And we saw a preview of this during COVID, and I was really blackpilled during COVID. How many people gave in and were unable to think? They just obeyed the government. And if you remember COVID, women were the biggest believers in it. They just loved it. And they loved being, the Karens telling you to put your mask up and all that. Invariably, it was women who just relished that role. And we're seeing this now on the left. It's a lot of these women that do this. It doesn't make a lot of sense, because why are you doing something protecting people that really hate you? They would kill you if they could. Even just because you're on the left, they don't give a shit. They really don't. They still hate you. Are you okay? What are you getting? Okay. I always got to check my dog, make sure he's not eating something crazy. I hate the puppy phase. And it's like with labs, I'm like, how long does the chewing puppy phase last? And I looked in the checked the internet. It was like, oh, 2 years. I'm like, great. So, but so this is what she's doing, Renee Good and her people like that. This is how they live. This is how they believe here. And hey, I got just starting the show. I already got a couple super chats, and I want to thank you a lot. There's a power chat you can give the power chats. I also have super chats on YouTube, and Rumble has rants. It's good to have that. It's good to be on Rumble too. And so we have this real divide in our culture right now, and it's getting deeper, and it's almost like a civil war. Not so much like 1860 America, but more 1930s Spain type of civil war. So what I mean, our time is limited, is if the Democrats get back in power, they're going to hit hard on censorship. And I'd probably be off a lot of these platforms. If they could, they'll, the groups that did Australia and Britain, they'll try to do the same thing in the United States and throw people in jail and shut them down. So we have a time we got to take advantage of. And I understand that. And I don't so much worry about that because that's out of my pay grade for God to handle. We got to take advantage of the opportunity we have until these evil people try to shut it down. Drew, $5. Thank you, Drew. That his is a power chat. My favorite shill narrative surrounding the Renee Good situation is that you're a book licker for standing with ICE for performing their duties. We want a nation. What are you doing, Benji? We want a nation that serves our best interests and requires the use of state power. Yeah, I agree with that, Drew. And the thing with Renee Good, the whole narrative really never took off. The narrative, like, oh, she's just minding her own business, protesting, and this mean ICE agent shot her. That's not the case. The ICE agent, not only, I always said that she was trying to hit him, and he shot in self-defense. No, she hit him. She hit him, and he went to the hospital, and he had internal injuries. It was really quite serious. So she was a terrorist. She was intentionally trying to hurt the guy. And it's just crazy. I don't think she took it seriously because, she's a woman and she thinks everyone's going to come to her defense. And then she's surprised what happened. And it never really took off. They were trying to make her into like a George Floyd. And it didn't work because, first of all, the minority population, they don't give a shit. Like, do you think the Somalis, even though she was supposedly trying to help on their behalf, you think they give a shit about her or going to go out and protest or in solidarity? They're like, fuck no. They had a chance. They put a knife in her neck and laugh about it. So they don't care. So this is how strange it is. So she was a white woman, so the minorities aren't going to really loot and burn like we see with George Floyd, looting shoe stores or liquor stores. And so there wasn't that much sympathy. And also because people now I think since George Floyd, how that was a fake narrative. He didn't die because he suffocated. He died because he had a fentanyl overdose. He was a thug. But they try to make a narrative, the golden casket, and he was like Jesus. I mean, what the hell? And they were trying to do that with her, but it really wasn't working. Oh, she's a mother. Well, she lost custody of her kids. To lose custody of your kids as a mother is almost impossible. I mean, she must have been horrific. They showed an old photo of her when she looked normal with long hair. She shaved her hair, went into this weird lesbian relationship. Supposedly had this wife. Homosexuals can't really marry. I don't care what the state says. It's ridiculous. And, she just had these crazy eyes. I'm sure she was on all these meds. And, why she's a middle-aged woman screwing around with ICE agents trying to protect our country. That's the law. They're trying to enforce it. You don't have a right to do that. I mean, even around here, if someone was pulled over on the side of the road by the sheriff, what the hell? If I'm going to drive over there, try to get in there and try to block the sheriff, then try to run him over, what do you think is going to happen? They'll shoot me dead without thinking about it. Hey, Dave. Dave's a good real life friend. $20. And thank you, Dave. I really do appreciate that. So that was a power chat for Dave. Good sponsor. And let's see here. Oh, that one. I got a Christmas card. This is really off the thing. It's kind of cool. Take a look at this here. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's a train. Isn't that cool? So anyway, this was by, who sent me this? This was John. I won't give you a John C. We'll just do John C. So that was pretty cool on that. All right, we'll get into some of the stories. I just want to see if I got any other super chats or anything like that. So, oh, I do got a super chat. Here we go. Definitely no shortage of content nowadays. Glad you're feeling better, Rams. I missed some of your philosophical videos. Maybe you can do that again. Yeah, I think I will. You get older, you got to be so philosophical. California Tune, glad you came out okay, Rams. Really worried about Sticks. All recent videos are very dark. Dying or not, he seems to be losing his sanity. Yeah, he got into some weird situations. You know, and not that when I say stuff like this, I'm not doing like I'm better than other people, because I've been in bad situations too because of my own fault. But there's basically rules of life like God has given us, that it's not like because he hates us and doesn't want us to have fun, but it's if you violate that, you get your life all messed up. And I think somewhat Sticks that kind of happened with him and some of the people he's been around and so forth that haven't been the best for him. And I got one from Tex here. Here we go. $10 or $9.99. I really do appreciate that. So thank you for that here. And yeah, I'll do some more philosophical videos here. All right, let's get into some of the news, what's happening. The big news, of course, is breaking. Worcester military officials say all signals are that the U.S. attack on Iran is imminent, according to the Reuters report. Why are we attacking Iran? We did it last year. Remember the 12-day war, and that was supposedly because, they're going to get a nuclear weapon. And then we attacked their base, and Trump, like Trump does, we totally destroyed it. They're wiped out. Woohoo, USA, kick ass. So we dropped some bombs, and I was a little skeptical. Did we really wipe it out? I don't know. But, whatever. I'm okay if this stops a war for us to do a symbolic bombing and declaring victory. Trump did that. Remember, in his first administration, he bombed some empty Syrian air base. No one was hurt, didn't do any damage, but it's a symbolic thing. That was, when they had the myth that Syria, Assad was gassing children. And remember, they had that it was a fake thing. They had some kid, they put on dirt on his face, and it caused Ivanka to cry. Remember Ivanka? She was a mess in the White House. So she was crying to daddy. So Trump had to do something. So he fires some symbolic missiles and declared a glorious victory. That's fine, right? And the 12-day war that was, of course, egged on by Israel. See, this is all Israel. There's no reason we can't be friends with Iran. It doesn't mean we have to be best buddies with Iran, but they're not going to try to create any real issues here. So I think this is part of the issue. So I think this is it. Are you going to be a good dog, or I'm going to have to put you up here? All right, guys. Sorry, I'm going to have to put him up because I think he's chewing my cords. Are you going to be good? You be good there. Don't chew that cord. I don't want him to chew my Yeah, I gotta put him up here. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry about that. Next Wednesday, I'll make sure he's in his crate. I thought he was going to be good. I'll be back in 1 minute. Let's go. Come on. Sorry about that. It's when you have a dog that's still a puppy. He likes to chew on everything, and I don't want him to chew my cord. He did that with Sasha's computer. He chewed her computer cord. So I'm back. So yeah, the Iranian thing, Iran's not a threat to us. It's not a threat to the United States. Israel doesn't like Iran because Iran gave money to Hezbollah, and Israel, they want to expand. And this is an example of something that's not America first. It's because Israel lobby has so much control over our politicians, and they have control not just by money, but in the media and law and everything else, that it gets a lot of politicians intimidated by them. So they do what Israel says. And others are true believers. Some of these people are just true believers. So Iran is not a threat to us. I mean, at all whatsoever. They've never attacked us. Whatever. I wouldn't want to live there, right? I'm not Muslim, and I don't want to live in a Muslim country, but I'm fine with them having their countries. In fact, yeah, stay there. Don't come into Europe. Don't come to the United States. Stay there. It's like India. I'm not against India. God bless India. Indians need to live in India. Yeah, they can make India great again, right? MIGA, make India great again. And so that's why we have homelands. So I'm not against Muslim homelands and the whole bit. Oh, they're mean to their women. Yeah, I don't care. That's for them to work out. We're not the police of the world. That's my attitude on that. So they're not a threat to the United States, but Israel doesn't like them, just like they didn't like Iraq. And then we got in that business because of Israel. Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11, but Israel, again, had a lot of influence. So this is another example of us fighting Israel's wars, not because it's not an interest of the United States, but the people have a lot of money, power, and influence in this country, way too much power and influence, dictate it. And these people are the same people that want to make it illegal to point out they have a lot of power and influence. And if you do, they want to throw you in jail. How dare you say we have power and influence? We'll throw you in jail. It's just crazy. But this is where we are now. And this is, other things that Trump does, at least you could theoretically could be in our benefit. I don't know. Like Venezuela, I'm not a big fan of that because I don't think you're going to figure that situation out. And I don't think Trump really thought that through well. I thought his advisors kind of screwed him up on that. The official reason because of drugs is just laughable. I mean, they're all involved with various drug cartels and stuff. I mean, it's Central America. What are you going to do, right? The real reason was, again, they had the oil and they were selling oil, not just in dollars, and that could threaten us. I was part of it. But then Trump's bragging about all this oil. Well, Venezuela, I think they overestimated how much oil they have. And there's various grades of oil, and they don't really have their oil is not, really sweet oil. Is requires a lot of processing. And I think Exxon said, we don't even want it. And there's really an oil glut. There's not an oil shortage, so we don't need Venezuelan oil. It was more about Rubio wants to put pressure on Cuba because that's his pet project. So there's a lot of regions there. But at least Trump could say, hey, this is in the interest of American people because we can get more oil and stop drugs coming in from the country, even though I'm skeptical of that. But at least you could spin it. This is in the interest of the American people. So I get points for that. But when you're talking about Iran, there's no interest in the American people. I mean, there's interest for Israel, and there's interest for the Jewish Americans that care about their homeland more than America. Obviously, they want, they're into it. And the people I think this will bring Jesus back, the Christian Zionists. But normal people's, it's not in our interest. And that's the difference between this and Venezuela, or even the whole Greenland thing. I'm not a big fan of that. But you could at least argue this could be an interest of American people. Although, well, I don't know. We'll have to see how much this is really. And on Rumble, Rowhouse, if one country in Europe would refuse to visit Rams, would it be UK? Yeah, I'm going to talk about that, Rowhouse, and thank you for the link. I have that up. I'm definitely going to bring that up. Yeah, UK, as Elon Musk called it, he called it Prison Isle, and it really is. I think the United Kingdom throws more people in jail for speech than Russia or North Korea or any of those countries. So that is the thing. Ooga booga, $3. I want regime change in Australia, UK, Ireland, Scotland, France, and Germany. Yeah, I non-ironically do. I would like to free those people. Those are our people, our ancestors. And it's really sad the tyranny that they are under right now. They're being replaced and they can't even criticize it. Otherwise, they're thrown into jail. California Tune. For what it's worth, my great grandmother, born in 1895, so was an adult woman when women got the vote, told me in the 1970s that she didn't really agree with getting the vote. I didn't understand at the time, but I do now. Yeah, I did a video a long time ago on YouTube. I took it down because of the Great Purge. But I studied during the 19th Amendment when they had a debate. I actually read a woman who was against the 19th Amendment, and she brought up a lot of good points why women shouldn't vote, because it should be the household. And what if you have a man and a woman? They both vote differently. They kind of split their vote. You're kind of splitting the household. And women were represented. They were represented before they got married by their fathers, and they were represented by their husbands. And women had, even back then, a lot of influence over their husbands. And a husband would vote not just in for his wife, but also for his children, right? So that represented the whole household. And so, yeah, that was it. North, $10. Great to see you feeling better in live streaming. Thank you. I am feeling better. And I plan to live stream every Wednesday night. It should be fun. It's a fun time in honor of the great Z-Man. I'm glad you don't shock your dog like Hassan Piker. Glad to see you doing live streams. Yeah, usually Benji, he's kind of tired this time of night and he just sleeps, but I don't know. I think he heard me talking in here. So he's like, oh, what are you doing? I have to see what you're doing. And then he comes in here and then he's like, oh, there's the power cord. That looks good to chew on. And so he's a sweet dog. He really is. He has like no aggression to other dogs or people. He just loves everyone almost too much because you got to kind of calm them down. But yeah, that's him. All right. Still more on this Iran thing. I don't know if Trump will do this because there's a couple of issues with this. We're not going to bring boots on the ground there. It's too far away and it's too much of a logistical mess. And I don't think even Trump wants that. Yeah, we could do some more missile strikes and bombings, but what good would that really do? The idea was, I guess, Iran, they were having some protests in their country, and these protests were legitimate because they have a lot of financial problems, inflation, and a lot of the middle class were out protesting. And then the usual suspects like Israel and stuff were using that to the protest to do regime change, another color revolution. And so it kind of became a bigger thing. It's just like the first 12-day war had nothing to do really about their nuclear program. It was trying to do a regime change, but that didn't work. So now I think Trump sees, or Israel sees, hey, here's another opportunity. If we bomb Iran, we could get this regime change. But I don't know. Usually bombing doesn't do that. Sometimes it brings a country together. So there's some risk, even if we do the bombing and we don't take any casualties. Okay, we destroy some bases or whatever, but what does that really accomplish? Bombing by itself doesn't accomplish a lot. We've seen that in wars. You need, if you're going to get a country, you got to take it over with your infantry. You got to have boots on the ground. Yeah, you can bomb, but I don't know. And so maybe Trump will bomb, but I don't see what good it will do. I know all the Israel First lobbies are cheering it. Israel has decided to opt out of the U.S. intervention in Iran. Israel has requested that the United States liberate Iran from the Islamic regime. They won't be involved. Why should they? They don't want to risk their boys when they can have us risk our boys. So, yeah, that's typical. And I'm not really surprised about that. So that's where we are on Israel. In fact, I was right before the show, I thought, wow, maybe there would be a, update about killing, about bombings, but I don't see anything yet. We will have to see if that happens. You never know with Trump because he can be so over the top. Oh, I did see this. This is what I talked about earlier about Renee Good. And this is CBS. The ICE agent who fatally shot Renee Good on January 7th in Minneapolis, his name's Jonathan Rush, suffered internal bleeding to the torso following the incident. He was hit. He was hit by her car. So it wasn't like she was trying to hit him. She literally did hit him. And, he shot her. She was driving the car at him. You have to presume to kill him because a car is a deadly weapon. People say, oh, she was unarmed. No, she wasn't. She had a car. That's a deadly weapon. She was aiming it at him. And he actually had real injuries out of that. All right. And this is the clip that came out from Rowhouse on Rumble. Thank you, Rowhouse. we'll talk about Britain and how they're trying to silence all speech. Eva, she's the bass blonde girl. She's been banned from traveling to the UK. And your presence in the UK is not considered to be conducive to the public good. Now, if she was coming in to rape little children, that'd be fine. They'd be okay with that. They'd be fine with that. But to say that, to protest that, no, 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 we can't have anyone protest that because this is diversity is our strength. I mean, these groups, we want to eliminate whiteness, and to eliminate whiteness, we got to eliminate white homelands, and England's a white homeland. So how are we going to do that unless we get unlimited Muslims coming in and Africans and people protesting the rape of our children? Oh no, that may slow down, the immigration, and that will slow down eliminating whiteness. And our goal is to eliminate white people. It's all genocidal. I said that. I said replacing people like that is a form of genocide, and Elon Musk retweeted me on that. So yeah, it is. Let me see. I think she gave a little update. It's pretty quick, so I think we can watch it here. We'll just take a look here. And I forget. Is she Dutch? I think she's Dutch. I'm not quite sure. Let's take a look here. There we go.
So I just got an email I didn't expect. I have officially been banned from traveling to the United Kingdom. I'm not allowed to enter the country because the UK government under Keir Starmer deems my presence in the UK, and I quote, not conducive to the public good. I don't know what that means. Since when is being conducive to the public good a requirement to enter a country? I mean,
well, I understand this, and traditionally this was used for keeping people that were criminals out of your country. So I don't have a problem with that. So if someone has a whole history of being a gangbanger or whatever, you may say, we don't want you in our country, and that's fine. But these people, again, they're saying they don't want her in their country because she says things that they don't like, meaning white displacement. And again, they're trying to eliminate white people, and she's against that. And the people that control Starmer, that's one of their big things, is they want to eliminate white countries. So they see this as a problem. That's the reason. It's not like she's going to go there and start to rob people or attack little children or get in bar fight. She's obviously not going to do that, but she has ideas that they don't like.
Especially the United Kingdom, where, if I'm not mistaken, thousands of illegal immigrants enter through the channel every day. Nobody's asking them to be conducive to the public good, but I can.
Well, no, but they see that as part of from the people who are running things, they see this as the public good because it's eliminating white people and it's harming white people. So they see that as good. That's their goal. So based on their goal, that is good.
Not come. And now this email came out of the blue, in the sense that I didn't apply for an ETA now. I went back in September to join the Tommy Robinson rally where I spoke. And I was planning, I should say, to do that again in May. Guess not. And now the timing is quite suspicious, isn't it? Because 3 days ago, I posted this about Keir Starmer, calling out his hypocrisy that he wants to ban X because of women's safety, whilst at the same time, he's the one who's allowing these migrant gang rapes to happen. Obviously, he's just doing that because he wants to ban free speech. And that is also the reason why I am now not anymore allowed to go to the UK. But it's pretty dystopian. I mean, it's a very severe limitation of my freedom. And as it says in the email, I cannot appeal. I'm not convicted of any crime. I'm not under suspicion of any crime. Keir Starmer just decided that someone like me is not welcome in the UK. So yeah, I just got an email.
I'm not surprised again. This is these countries are becoming very dystopian, and that's why I said we live in a really crazy time. And it's sad to see that, but this is why we're doing it. And so I got another rant, a $10 rant. So thank you for this. Hey, Pam, hi. Glad you're back and healthy. I have some cool historical stuff to send you if your P.O. box accepts medium-sized packages. It does. Yes, I love my P.O. box. We love my P.O. box. I have it in Fayetteville, And let me just bring that up for you guys here. If you want to send me anything, Paul Ramsey, P.O. Box 8093, Fayetteville, Arkansas 72703. And we check that all the time. And so thank you for that. Yeah, it does accept. How it works is if it can't fit in the PO box, they leave a little like a tag or something, a little post-it note saying, "Hey, we got the box back here." Now the Fayetteville office is, let's just say, very diverse. Even though Fayetteville is mostly a white city, I think the post office is almost all run by blacks, and the services as you would expect. So it's not the best, but that's how they do it there. So there we go. All right, a couple other things they were talking about, how they attack white people, and this is intentional because minorities commit so many more crimes than white people, especially per capita. And I know per capita causes a certain group to get all confused, but how the numbers are even worse than the official numbers, because the Ohio Correction Center labels these inmates as whites. And here's a Muslim woman white. They label this lady as white, this Hispanic lady is white, and this black guy is white. And this isn't unusual. This happens a lot. And I think this is deliberate, not just a mistake, is trying to make the numbers look better, because if they had more accurate numbers, they'd even be even worse. There'd hardly be any whites that commit violent crimes. So they do everything they can to skew the situation there. And it's a form of propaganda. So when they have the statistics, they feel that it can look better for them. All right, let's see what we have here. We do have some good things that Trump does. Sometimes I think Trump, I don't know, I want to say sometimes he just plays Israel because he understands the power of that group, but then he gives them kind of like blue balls and doesn't follow through. And so that's kind of that'd be funny if Trump doesn't really attack Iran. But that gives him, he thinks, free reign to do other things. So he goes, okay, I'll pacify this group because they have a lot of power and kiss their ass, whatever, and throw them a bone every once in a while so I can do what's really good for America. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being hopeful with that. He's probably a true believer, but he's still doing good things. The State Department will pause immigrant visa processing from 75 countries whose migrant take welfare from the American people at unacceptable rates. Again, I think it's like 80% of all Somalis that have been here are on welfare. The freeze will remain active until the U.S. can assure new immigrants will not extract wealth from American people. So that's good. That is good. We are doing everything to stop even legal immigration. We've always talked about illegal, but this is stopping legal immigration from in these 75 countries. I guarantee you are non-white. So I think that is a good thing that is happening here. And Trump is also doing a good thing with stopping a lot of these payments. Effective February 1st, no more payments will be made by the federal government to states for their corrupt criminal protection centers known as sanctuary cities. All they do is breed crime and violence. If states want them, they will have to pay for them. That is great. I love it. Good for Trump. It's hard for me to stay mad at Trump. Sometimes I do get mad at Trump, like this Iran bit. But I don't know. If the price is like, okay, I'll throw a couple missiles to satisfy that group so they stay off my ass so I can do stuff like this, is it really that bad? I don't know. I don't want to go with the war with Iran, but if we shoot off a few Tomahawk missiles and that gives them political cover to stop a lot of this other stuff, I guess I could tolerate that trade-off, right? Life is a trade-off in politics. And this should be. I mean, as a city, you don't have a right to defy the federal government. So, this is a good thing. Cut off their money. I think Fayetteville's a shit lube city, so that'd be great to see Fayetteville cut off. So good news about that. And here, let me just show you the Somali statistics. It's just not the United States too. It's really crazy. And these people, I think, would be much happier in their homeland, and they need to go there. In the United States, 80% of Somalis are on welfare. United Kingdom, 70%, Sweden, 70%, Canada, 60%, and you see it. I mean, they just don't. So it's not like they're coming in to do the jobs that Swedes won't do. No, they're not working unless you consider running scams a job, but they're not working. So yeah, they need to go. And that is and the good news, I'll give you another white pill, guys, right? We just don't want black pills, right? Let's get some white pills. And for the first time in 50-year history, woo, I love this. This is good news. This is white pill. United States is now experiencing negative net migration for the first time in 50 years. Yes. So that means people are leaving more than they're coming in. And thank God for that. It's long overdue. And I am happy with that, very much so. So that really does help a lot in many ways. And one of the ways that helps is JD Vance, who I like. I know a lot of people I don't like, but I think he's pretty good. I actually like him better than Trump. So let's take a listen to JD Vance here.
Because we're starting to get those illegal aliens out of the United States of America. Those criminals, those gang members, those people who are taking homes that ought by right go to the people in this room and your children and your grandchildren. It's simple economics. If you have fewer people, fewer illegal aliens trying to buy homes, that means American citizens are going to finally be able to afford a home again. It's very, very, very simple economics.
It is, and he's right. And he got pushed back by this guy, and I responded to him. I don't know, maybe he blocked me. But this guy says, JD Vance says fewer undocumented immigrants. No, first of all, fuck you, Brian. They're illegal immigrants. It's just like, oh, they don't have their documentation. He didn't say undocumented. He said illegal. So fuck you and you're undocumented. They're illegal aliens. Means Americans can finally afford homes. So which is it? They don't work and live on welfare or somehow buying up all the houses. Pick a lie. Well, it's both. It's both. They're on welfare and they use our fucking money to buy houses and get rent apartments, right? We give them money. So it's both. It's not one or the other, you dumb shit. So this is horrible, right? So we bring these people in and we give them your tax money, sometimes very generous. They get on food stamps, they get housing subsidies. And yeah, JD Vance is right. We get them out. This will lower the demand and this will lower prices. So excellent. JD Vance is right. And this guy's kind of too stupid to understand that, but that is what is happening. It is really good. All right. Let's take a look at some other stuff that's going on. And here we go. Greenland. Let's talk about Greenland. I always thought Greenland was a meme, like Canada. You know, we wanted to take over Canada, but I don't think Greenland's a meme. I think Trump really wants it, and we'll talk about that. But Norway, you better not fuck with Norway. They've deployed 2 soldiers. I think that's half their army. Norway has sent half their army to help Denmark in the defense of Greenland from the USA. Yeah, I'm sure they will defend Greenland. What a joke. So there's that. And here we go. Let's see. The official reason for Greenland is and I'll say really what's happening here, but because you get the official reason, then you get the real reason. Greenland. Trump is saying here, the United States needs Greenland for the purpose of national security. It is vital for the Golden Dome that we are building. That's that missile defense they want to build in the United States. NATO should be leading the way for us to get it. If we don't, Russia and China will, and that's not going to happen. Really? Is there really plans for Russia or China to invade Greenland? I haven't seen that. Russia's focused on Ukraine and China's focused really like on Taiwan. And even if they should invade Greenland, of all places, Greenland is part of Denmark, so that would be a war. That would invoke Article 5, so that would start a world war. Military, without the vast power of the United States, much of Iowa built during the first term, I'm now bringing to a new and even higher level. NATO would not be an effective force or deterrent. Not even close. Well, that's true. The United States pretty much is NATO, not the two. No offense to the 2 soldiers that are in the Norwegian army. NATO becomes far more formidable and effective with Greenland in the hands of the United States. Anything less is unacceptable. So it sounds like, he's not willing to negotiate. This is kind of bullshit, number one, because Greenland, they're like, yeah, whatever. You have military bases here in America. You can do whatever you want. You want our minerals? You can have those too. Bring as many troops as you want here. We don't care. So it has nothing to do with that, right? I mean, I think it's Trump just he's kind of like McKinley. He just wants like the whole northern hemisphere. And I at first I was against this because I'm like, the people in Greenland, they're mostly like Eskimo types. And there's only 56,000, right? That's smaller than the city of Fayetteville. Fayetteville's a small college town. There's like no one lives there, except for there's some alcoholics, some fishermen, and the rest are on welfare. And they will all vote left. And so my initial thought, if we take over Greenland, that's going to be 2 more Democrat senators plus a one more in the House, that another Democrat. Do we really want that? But then I thought, well, there's only 56,000 people there. If we had a lot of like MAGA type people move there, we could actually flip the vote in our favor very easily. And by the way, Greenland is just an idea. It's just not a territory. It's an idea. Isn't that what they always say in Europe? Oh, there's no such thing as blood and soil nationalism, except for Israel. Everywhere else is just an idea. Well, Greenland's an idea. So we can have our people there, and they'll be just as much Greenlanders. Is that what they call Greenland people? Greenlanders or greenies or whatever they call them, as they are. So I don't know. Trump seems pretty adamant about it, and I don't know anything NATO really can do about it if he wants it. Again, all we have to do is say, well, SARS down, and that's that. I mean, it's not going to be a war or anything. And what's NATO going to do? I mean, they may pout a bit, right? They'll pout and cry a little bit, but then they'll forget about it soon. So I don't know. Maybe it's not a bad idea. Maybe it's not a bad idea. I'm usually against this sort of thing. I'm not a foreign intervenant. I don't believe in foreign interventions. I'm really opposed to that in general. But if it helps us, maybe, at least it's better than attacking Iran. So it was weird because I never heard this. Did you hear this before the election, that this was on the top of Trump's agenda, is to get Greenland? And then Canada, I think he backed off Canada. I don't want Canada. I have a lot of great friends in Canada, but we don't want Canada. Maybe Alberta, but Greenland, I don't know. I guess we could take it. We could move people there, and it could be a Republican state. So maybe it'd be okay. We will see. And there's a lot of land there. And part of the reason with Greenland too is there's no one lives there, right? And they all live on the coast. And so you have this big island that you could put all these like AI data centers, because part of the problem is, where do you put all these AI data centers? Well, you put them in Greenland. There's always a problem of cooling these centers. So it's pretty damn cold there all the time. So put them there. No one lives there except on the coast. So you don't have to worry about, farmers and all that. So I don't know. Maybe there is a point for it. It seems kind of strange to me and out of left field, but this is what they're doing there. This is what they do here. All right. Let's see here. What else do we got here? Okay. So we did the immigration. We did Greenland. Should we do the early life? Early life. We'll do some early life. Well, no, this isn't early life. I guess it's probably early life people that kind of promoted this idea. All right. Here's Senator Hawley. This is kind of funny. This is looking back, I think people are going to laugh at this. Even now, this was so like 2020.
Since you bring it up.
Well, I'm not going to watch the whole thing. It's 5 minutes. Sorry about that. But anyway, he says, can men get pregnant? And this so-called doctor, Nisha Verma, I don't know, she needs to go back wherever that's from. I'm not really sure what the goal of the question is. Senator Hawley, the goal is just to establish a biological reality. Can men get pregnant? She couldn't answer that. Okay, I can answer it for her. No, men can't get pregnant because men don't have eggs. We don't have a womb. So you should learn that in the 6th or 7th grade, right? And so there's a doctor that doesn't understand that. And they don't understand that because they bought into this myth that everything is a social construct, right? Like, oh, there's no such thing as race. This is a social construct. It's like, no, race is real and races are different on a biological level. You may not like it, but it's reality. And so they expanded that to men and women. Oh, there's no differences between men and women. Yeah, there are. Right. So you may not like it. It may violate your idea of how God should have created the universe. Oh, everyone should be exactly equal. That's not right. We're differences. And it just seems absurd, but we still have people that are doing that. All right. I said early life. Oh, I actually closed the tab. Let's do some early life stuff here. I close my power chat tab. Sometimes I get clicking and I get accidentally close stuff here. Events. Here we go. Ooh. Oh, here we go. Ooga Booga, another one from him, by the way. What's it going to take for whites to finally rise up worldwide? Well, it's happening. I mean, there's a lot more awareness. And I think what it takes is people that are reasonable, like I think myself and others, are to say, hey, the way these groups like the ADL do it, if we say that it's okay to be white, they're like, oh, that's hate. How dare you say, no, it's not okay to be white. That's a horrible position they're trying to defend. And we're not saying it's wrong to be in the other race. It isn't. You can't help it, right? But so it's fine to be white too, just like it's fine to be Jewish or black or Hispanic. That's what we're saying. And we're saying that people have different values and customs that comes out of genetics. For God's sakes, the Jews understand this. That's why they have Israel. They just don't allow anyone to live there. They want a homeland for their people because of their customs and whatever. Okay, I get it. I'm not really against that. We want the same thing. But when we want that, oh, that's Nazism, white nationalism, white supremacy, blah, 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 and people are getting tired of that. And people are saying, well, no, wait a minute. When we have separate countries, it would really solve a lot of issues. Let's say like Somalians. I don't want them here, but maybe Somalians say, oh, white people, white supremacy, they're so horrible. Well, okay, maybe you feel that way. I don't know. I'm not going to debate you. Go back to your homeland where there's no white people, and we promise we won't bother you. Have fun doing whatever you do. Really, I don't mean that meanly. And the same with like Indians. I mean, you have a whole subcontinent there in India. God bless India. Maybe it's a great place. I don't know. Go there and have fun. Do with whatever you want to do there. And it solves a lot of problems because then you're not around evil white people. It's really weird because, oh, you white people are so evil and so mean and, oh, so scary. I'm like, well, why do you want to live around us then? Go back. Really won't hurt my feelings. It won't hurt my feelings if you go back to your homelands. I think we will somehow make it. Somehow we will still get the foods. We have something called recipes, right? So it's like if the Mexicans went back to Mexico, we will still have burritos and tacos, right? And margaritas. We'll be okay. So I know Piers Morgan, but if all the Arabs left, we won't have kebabs. Yeah, you can still have your kebab, Piers Morgan, right? So everyone has their homelands, and you can do what you want in your homeland. It makes it a lot simpler. You don't have these issues, right? Diversity is it's a weakness. It creates conflict. So go back. You got your own culture. Have fun with it. And we want our culture. And see, when you have that type of framing in that way, people are a lot more sympathetic because then you're not trying to say what's better or worse or anything like that. It's just that we have a right to our homelands, just like the Jews have a right to their homeland. And that's a powerful argument. So I do that. That's how I would say that takes. So it is happening. And it's happening also just because of reality. People see it more. It's hard to deny it at this point. I mean, these countries like Britain, they'll do these advertisements of these men in business suits on the subway. They're the people that hassle. This is according to Britain's advertising in the group that controls that fantasy, is these white men in suits in London. They go on the subway or the tube or whatever they call it over there, and they're hassling these poor black women. They're just trying to mind their business. I mean, that's their fantasy of how it works, right? And so everyone sees that, right? The villain's always some white guy or white boy. There's always some person of color, Some Muslim stops and no, we don't treat women that way. It's just a bizarre inversion. But then people in real life say, wait a minute, it's just the opposite in real life. So reality has a way of trumping fantasy. Although if people are divorced from reality, they buy the fantasy more. And this is why you get these white liberal women that are like in the suburbs. They don't live in the reality, or these rich people, their idea of diverse, they live in all white areas with security, and their idea of diversity is, I went to this fabulous cocktail party and there's a hilarious African homosexual. Oh, I just love it. People are so bigoted in the South in America. How could they not love it? He was just fabulous. This is how they see it. They don't have to live with it. They don't have to ride on the bus of majority blacks. They don't have to deal with that. They just have to see the fabulous gay black guy at the cocktail party, and they devise their whole worldview based on that. So reality is a big way to change that. So I'm optimistic with that. So that's out. All right. Let's see here. Here we go. I thought this was a girl at first. I think this is a guy. Yeah. Shabos Kestenbaum. I'm not making their name up. Don't blame me. I don't make these names up. All right. So let's listen to what Shabos has to say.
Anti-Semitism. When someone commits an anti-Semitic act.
So this is PragerU. This is supposedly, so this is how we have to get discernment on the right of these so-called conservatives. Are they really conservatives, or are they fighting for their own ethnic interests? Okay, so here we go.
We don't send them to jail. Instead, we get the ADL to say, let's bring them to a Holocaust museum, which A, gives them pretty bad ideas, and B, doesn't solve anything about the fundamental issue that they violated the law. So the way we solve anti-Semitism is pretty goddamn simple, and I'm really besides myself that we don't push for this with all the major Jewish organizations. When someone commits a crime, stop sending them on El Al flights. That will make them more anti-Semitic, I guarantee it. Send their ass to jail. It's not complicated.
So he wants to send you to jail. And this is from PragerU. So the supposedly an American conservative, right? If you're anti-Semitic. Well, first of all, you have a right to be anti-Semitic. You have a right to be anything you want in America. Whatever your thoughts in America, this is a free country. So fuck you, right? This guy's not really, he doesn't really fit in with America. He'd probably be happier in his homeland. And they can make all the laws they want there. I don't care. And make everything illegal. So you have a right to believe what you want. Now, you don't have a right to engage in a violent act, but that has nothing to do with your thoughts, right? So if my neighbor, I go say just right now, he's an 80-year-old man, I walk over there and I punch him in the nose. My thoughts don't really matter. It's I committed a crime and I would be arrested. The sheriff would arrest me and I'd go to jail. We already have laws against that. So it doesn't matter if you're Jewish, white, black, whatever. You don't have a right to physically harm someone or destroy their property. So, but his idea of anti-Semitism, that's a broad category. That's, for example, if you say, maybe we shouldn't send all these tax money to Israel. Maybe we shouldn't fight these wars for Israel. Oh, that's anti-Semitic. Your ass needs to go to jail. Yeah, fuck you. Maybe your ass doesn't belong in this country. That's probably the bigger thing right now. And I asked this, this is Dennis Prager here. And he's doing this, they just hate Israel because they're Jews, right? This is all based on victimhood. So let's look at him here. As I have been saying for decades, hatred of the one Jewish state is immeasurably greater than the professed concern for the well-being of Palestinians. If they weren't fighting Jews, no one would be paying any attention. And so I said, well, do you also support homelands for white people? All right? Because they get a homeland. That's Jewish only. You can't move there. Muslims can't move there. Other people can't immigrate there. That's their homeland. So do we have a right? Do we have a right to have like Germany just for the white German people? Prager would say, no, we don't have that right. That's Nazism. That's white nationalism. That's white supremacy. But his people get a homeland. That is his whole thing. And if you say, well, wait a minute, why do your people get a homeland, but our people don't? They would say, well, asking that question is anti-Semitic and you should go to jail for that. That's their response. And people are getting tired of that. And that is not really flying much on the right anymore in the Republican. And I use the term right loosely, again, because I'm not a big fan of the whole right-left type of thing. But it's just not flying anymore. And again, that was Prater. Really interesting. He never answered my question. Do you support white people having their countries? He wouldn't answer that question. If he's forced to, he would say no. We're special because of the Holocaust. But that would be his thing here. And here this is one other thing. All right, here. This is in Denmark, the propaganda that's being used against our people, right? I think this is Denmark. Let me take a look here. Yeah, Denmark, right? This is a white country, a white couple together. All right, and this guy, I don't know. I don't know. I want to do an early life check. But he's basically saying, no. It is wrong for you guys to have sex and have children together because that's inbreeding. very, very ironic if you look at in Israel what they do. Very ironic for that community to accuse others of inbreeding. First of all, it's not inbreeding to have babies with people of your ethnicity or race whatsoever. In fact, it's healthy. There's mixed race kids have a lot of health problems. It causes a lot of issues. And it's inbreeding if it's just like your brother and sister, which are, despite the propaganda, is very rare, except for our Somali friends like Omar and stuff. So in Pakistan, they have a problem in England now with a lot of inbreeding, especially with cousins. But otherwise, it's not a problem.
For gamle tjener og gamle affører. De første mennesker i Grønland, de uddøde på grund af en navn. DNA i denne her lille fætter har vist os, at vi danskere har overlevet, fordi vi har knaldet med andre folkeslag fra Mellemøsten og Vestasien. Det har gjort os mere resistent over for sygdomme, så hvis vi ikke blander os med fremmede, så uddør vi. Så hvis I skal give jeres kommende børn de bedste muligheder, så skal I nok vælge noget lidt mere eksotisk.
Yeah, I would say like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. How about this? How about this? How about we send 1 million Africans to breed in Israel? How about that? How about that? I don't think you would like that. No, I don't think that would go over well. That wouldn't go over well. No, that'd be problematic. Hate. Oh, why do you hate us? Oh, it's another genocide. Oh, Irina was a martyr. Oops, sorry about this. Renee Good is not one. No, the left was trying to compare also to Charlie Kirk to Renee Good. Charlie Kirk was doing illegal activity, speaking. He was murdered. Renee Good was trying to assassinate a police officer. They're not the same, okay? I know the left has the troubles. Okay, one of these things are not the same. It's really crazy about that. $2 from South Boy. Hey, thank you for that. I really do appreciate that. Let me just show you. I'll just try to get through here. Okay, here. Let me just look at my Rumble. I always want to get caught up in everything, make sure I get everything back. Okay, and then my Powerchats. All right, I think I'm all caught up. And it was a fun show. It's really been good to get back to streaming. I was like, did I forget how to stream? I haven't streamed in so long. I don't know how to do this anymore, but I think I do. It's like a horse, right? You fall off, you get back on. So I'm back on the horse. So anyway, guys, it's been fun. I'll see you next Wednesday live streaming, and I'll see how I do this. I may get some guests and stuff. So if you don't like someone, invite them to be my co-host. May get charged with attempted murder, but yeah, I'll see what I can do with this. And I'll be doing a video tomorrow. I'll do a video Thursday and Friday. Oh, and for my Substack, if you want to join my Substack, I'm going to be doing a special video every week with them. I used to do a roundtable every Tuesday. I think I'm going to still do that, but I'm going to do it like once a month. It was, I don't know. Yeah, I did it for years. It just needs to get a little bit more fresh. So Dave actually gave that a suggestion, do it like a once a month thing. And I think I'm going to do that with a roundtable. But then every week I'll do a Substack only video. So I'll do that. You can see the Substack in the description below. And anyway, guys, thanks a lot. And I will see you with a video tomorrow. Talk to you guys later.